Good afternoon, everyone. Kind of we'll start off, I think many of you have heard, but UCF lost a friend, a coach this past weekend in Sean Clark, and I've met Sean a couple of times, but I know Coach Wyatt worked with him at App State, and my heart goes out to his family. My heart goes out to Coach Frost and the UCF athletic department football family. To go through something like that in season, I can't even imagine. But I know that they'll lift Sean up and play their tails off for him. So it's unfortunate whenever you lose somebody in our profession, because we all know how hard this business is and what we put into the business, what the families put into the business, and then for have somebody lose their life so early is really tragic. So. Last week we did some really good things, we thought, at practice. It's still got to carry over to a game and game week, but we had a good week of practice. Went hard Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with pads on, trying to maybe do some things, simplify some things, get a little bit more physical at the point of attack. I thought it was a good week. There was good energy out there, but in the same respect, we've got to carry it over to this week and play really good football on Saturday. We're excited about the opportunity. It's a really good football team. Scott's done a really good job there, which I knew he would. I've known Scott for a long time. He and I were on the same staff at Northern Iowa for 3 years, so I've known Frosty for a long time. I know he's a really good coach, but they've got really talented guys, and they're playing at a really high level, and they're playing with a lot of confidence.
What was the noticeable difference with your team last week from prior week?
I think the energy. I think the physicality, everybody, it's easy to feel sorry for yourself, but nobody's going to feel sorry for us. So those guys got to dust themselves off and get off the deck and play better football. And some of it, and we talked about it the week before, some of it's us as coaches trying to simplify some things.
Looking back, is there any regret to maybe skipping some spring practices while installing this defense?
Yeah, no. We wouldn't have had enough bodies to do it regardless. So that's not an excuse at all. Because it's not just the defense, it's the offense, it's everything. So that had nothing to do with it, in my opinion. But we've just got to get better.
And are there traits that they're showing right now that will immediately translate to games? Because they're almost like they're thinking about everything they do.
Yeah. Part of that is accurate. Some of it is just getting punched in the mouth and fighting back, rather than, okay, I'm just getting punched in the mouth. I think that's collectively. I think that's our team. Some of it is our coaches getting punched in the mouth as far as, boy, that didn't work. Okay, now we've got to find something else, and we got to get these kids believing in what we're doing is the right thing, and getting them playing with their hair on fire. And that hasn't happened yet on either side consistently. It's happened a series. It's happened for a quarter or so, but it's got to happen for 4 quarters.
Any update on George Fitzpatrick?
Other than he's out at practice doing some drill work, doing whatever, but he's not been cleared to do anything practice-wise.
Chris, what's the main thing you're maybe stressing with both coaches and players to get the running game going this week?
Coming off the football, both sides of the ball, being more physical at the point of attack, not thinking so much, not trying to be perfect on something, because that's not going to work for us. If we see a stun or something, got to go attack it on the offensive line and not wait for it or guess at it. I think that's something that has hurt us. And then on defense, sometimes it's not going to be fit perfectly, but if we get disruption and get into the backfield, some better things are going to happen. And, we haven't had enough TFLs and tackles for loss, and that whether that's the scheme, whether it's kids playing tentative to not wanting to mess up, we've got to kind of eliminate that, in my opinion, and just fire off and create some havoc.
Bye week at all as a chance to just collectively hit the reset button on things?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we looked at everything while giving our players a little bit of time. We practiced hard Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but, Sunday, Monday, of the week before. We dissected everything. And then you do that while you're practicing as well to try some new things or to adjust some things. And then spending, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I know some of them were out recruiting, but I kept Coach Klieman and Coach Wells around because I wanted those guys to continue to meet with myself, meet with the QCs, because, some of the things we're doing, we've got to tweak from a coaching standpoint, technique, whatever it may be, and some of it is personnel.
On the defensive side of the ball, maybe it feels like that'd be maybe the side with the experience back that you can make some changes. Theoretically, if you were to do that, do you feel like that'd be a hard thing to pull off?
Yeah, and we're not making wholesale changes from a scheme standpoint. I think we're maybe trying to simplify and let them play faster and let them play with more disruption on that side of the ball. I think that's something that when you look at the film, regardless of the outcome, I thought we played with our hair on fire against Iowa State. I really did, and they got us by a field goal. They're a really good football team. I didn't see that same fire the previous weeks, and we need to get back to that, and we need to emphasize it, and we need to do it at practice. So you're not going to turn a switch on Saturday.
It's been a few years since you've seen an Alex Grinch defense.
Yeah.
But when you look at UCF and his body of work, what comes to mind?
Yeah, Alex is one of the best coaches in college football, and I knew he had a relationship with Scott, so they're playing really well on defense, and regardless of competition or anything like that, they're playing physical, they're playing fast. They're getting that disrupt. I think they've got a really good front. Their front seven and the guys up front wreak havoc. They're long, they're athletic, they're physical. They're making plays in the backfield and pushing that line of scrimmage into the backfield, and then their secondary guys are cleaning it up as well as playing really good coverage. So they're playing really fast. You could see that. I watched a little bit of it live on Saturday. They won the line of scrimmage against North Carolina on both sides of the ball.
Do you have an update on Dylan after coming out early?
Yeah, we're hopeful that we'll get him back full speed this week. And I don't know when the injury report comes out, Wednesday or Thursday. We haven't played a conference game for a while, but we'll find out more early in the week.
Is there anything you'd like to see different from Avery's point? Just just throwing the ball, taking off and running.
Yeah,
sometimes?
I think all of the above. Sometimes when it's breaking down, just take off and get what you can get, or maybe just the progression side of where he wants to read, where Coach Wells wants him to start his eyes based on the coverage, and maybe give him a few more easy looks, some what we call layups on that respect. We can't drop balls, too. I mean, we've had a lot of 2nd and 10s or 3rd and 10s because we drop a 4-yard stick route or a 5-yard out route that, we've been really poor on 3rd down on offense, and all that is relative when you're 3rd and 9+, 3rd and 10+, and we should be 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and having the ability to run it or throw it, but we're not converting because we're not, in my opinion, either catching the ball exceptionally well, or maybe we miss a hole, maybe we miss a block. I mean, it's a collective effort from both offense and defense in all the positions that we've got to continue to improve.
I was going to ask you a little bit about the offensive line. You talked about, being more physical, getting off the ball a little bit quicker. Is this a situation where you're trying to maybe get 7 or 8 in rotation?
Yeah, well, we don't. It depends on our health-wise at that position. We're banged up, a couple of guys there. So whoever we have, they know that we've got to play better, and those guys would tell you that as well. We've got to be more physical. We've got to come off the ball at the point of attack. Whether or not we'll play 6, whether or not we'll play 7 or 8, just depending on our health there, we're beat up a little bit there. It's no excuse. The guys that are going to play got to come off the football and play with a lot more physicality.
And you had mentioned earlier, too, about the running backs needing to be a bit better. How has that gone for you?
Well, they need to be better, but so does the offensive line. So does the receiver room. So does the quarterback. I mean, all of us have to have some ownership in this. So do us as coaches. And so, It's easy to come here and point out a position that's not playing the best. I agree, but it's collectively. I mean, you don't struggle like we have struggled and say, boy, but that D line's playing their tails off. No, the D line's got to get better, and they got to do some things better. It's collectively, and it starts with us as a staff. We talked about that a week ago, and we've got to put them in positions to be successful.
Coach, you referenced the tweaking, the changes that you're working on right now. In terms of the 4 games to this point, is there a collective theme on 3rd and 4th down that is keeping you from getting off the field?
Winning on 1st and 2nd down would be the first thing I would say. I mean, this game is pretty simple, or a lot simpler, when you can defend 3rd and 8, 9, and 10 and get it into 3rd, 2nd, 2, and 3. We're not winning on early downs on defense, and we're not winning on early downs on offense, which then puts you into a lot more 3rd and 10 situations. And there's not a lot of things to defend against. Cover 0, bringing 7 when the guys are standing at 9 yards, letting you throw a sticker out in front of them, and then they whack you for a 5-yard gain. There's just not a lot of calls out there. And so we've got to win on early downs. I think that's the emphasis that we talked about last week. It's an emphasis we're going to put in this week of maybe even some good on good first down competition. Let's try to see who can win and get it to 2nd and long or 2nd and manageable. And those are the things that collectively we're not doing on either side.
Are there any guys that have kind of used this last week and a half or whatever to maybe take a larger leadership role on the team that maybe that wasn't the case?
Yeah. There's a collection of about a dozen or so kids that I think have done a really good job of not only holding themselves accountable first, because that's the first thing you got to do. It's like coaching. We've got to hold ourselves accountable first before we say we've got to get better at position A or B and C. Well, look at the position coach, look at the coordinator, look at the head coach. We got to get better there. But our leadership has been good. It's now, can they raise the level of those guys around them? That's the sign of a leader.
And then now that we're through 4 games, have there been any guys that have talked to you about exercising their red shirt for the rest of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to always be that until we can change the rule. The model doesn't work the way it is right now when you have roster reduction and then don't give the kids 5 years to play 5. It was an unintended consequences of the House settlement that people didn't put into it. And I get it. There's a lot of things that were part of that House settlement. But one of the things moving forward that we have to get across is 5 for 5. And I think it would clean up a lot of the litigation that's going on in the NCAA of trying to get my 6th year, 7th year, 8th year. People are going to play as long as they want right now. People are going to play for 10 years because they have the ability to make money, and people don't want to get sued, so they're going to just keep saying yes.
And then through this point in the season, it's not a place that K-State fans are used to being, but it's also not a place that you are used to being in your coaching career, especially with the just on-field adversity. Especially, how have you kind of handled that?
It sucks. I mean, let's be honest. We all know it does, and we've got to dig ourselves out of it. And there's no reason for me to point fingers. There's no reason for me to, I can get frustrated, but there's not a free agency period right now, or there's not a free agency period with coaches. I mean, it is what it is. We've got to figure this out. There's good football teams out there, and we've got a bunch of them that we're going to play, including this week. And always in this league, you're going to be in dogfights, and it's going to be a lot of one-score games. And so we got to dig deep and find a way to win these one-score games. The optimism would say, hey, we've been within a score of every loss we have. That's easy to say, but we're not playing well enough to win those games. We haven't earned those wins. We've earned the loss because we haven't played well enough. We lose by 3 points, 6 points, whatever it may be. We gotta do some things and find some things within to win those games and earn those wins. And that's where we're all, meaning fans, players, coaches, all frustrated because we all feel we're better than what we're showing. But that does you better act upon it. Words are one thing. You got to act upon it. You got to go whip that guy across from you one-on-one, and that's what we're not doing right now.
We saw Lincoln play for the first time last week, lined up a lot in the slot, out wide. Is
Yep.
that more his primary contribution right now?
I think last week it was because it was his first week. We really had him back doing everything. He'd practiced very limited all the way up through Army. Used him a little bit on scout team because it was his first week. He was really cleared to do everything. And so losing J.B. Bradley and stuff, it was a way for us to get him on the field. I think moving forward, we'll see him move around a little bit more and play some true tight end, play some off tight end, be able to flex out. But we flex Oak and we flex Lofton and those guys. It's just, advancing him to that next package of being an inline tight end.